Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Soso, and welcome back to another Heat playoff special. This time, we're previewing the Heat versus the Knicks, and I got with me right now the DJ of the New York Knicks, a.k.a. Dan, a.k.a. DJ Monopoli in the building. What's going on, man?
Yes, sir. What's going on? Thanks for bringing me on, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Before we get started, let the people know where they can find you, because there's plenty of Knicks fans down here for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you can find me on all social platforms. Instagram, TikTok are the favorites, at Monopoly Music. So Monopoly with an I, like the game except with an I, but Monopoly Music.
I like it, man. I like it. It's a cool spin on that for sure. Dan, tell me a little bit how you got started with the Knicks, why DJing is your passion, and how it is a dream in heaven for a Knicks fan like yourself.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, I mean, long before I was a DJ, long before that, I've been following the Knicks. I have an older sister who was really, really diehard. So when I was very, very young, you know, she made me sit there and watch the games with her, and that's when my passion, not just for the Knicks, but for basketball in general, started. And then kind of fast forward all the way to, you know, my college years where I was playing basketball in college. And that's when I connected with somebody that was DJing. And it was always something I was kind of interested in. And, you know, I dove in, I bought some equipment, and, you know, like they say, the rest is history. And then fast forward to, man, I guess it was like 2018 or so. I actually got the call to interview for the New York Jets stadium DJ job.
Nice.
And went through that whole process. It came down to me and actually a buddy of mine. So, like, you know, it was nice to see, like, some familiar face that I was going up against in the final round. And he ended up getting the job. So I was super bummed out. I really thought that was, like, the opportunity. But funny enough, the gentleman that I was interviewing with, he ended up leaving the Jets and moving over to the New York Knicks the very next season.
Nice.
And we had talked about it. I told him, I'm like, yo, the Knicks, basketball is my passion. Like, you know, I've been a diehard Knicks fan. That's the only team that I, like, really, really follow. And so as soon as he made that transition, he was like, I immediately thought of you. I got to bring you in. And I started with the Westchester Knicks. So I kind of had to, like, you know, I had to pay my dues.
Nice.
And I cut some music for, like, Knicks videos and stuff. That started. And then that turned into actually becoming the resident DJ for the Westchester Knicks for a few seasons. And then I transitioned into this role now as one of two DJs at the Garden for the Knicks and the Rangers. Really, that like COVID season is when I made that transition. So myself and DJ Rumor, shout out to Rumor. Rumor's been holding it down for, like, I think a decade and a half over there. Like, he's been the guy. So it's an honor to work beside him, and I get to work with Ray Castaldi, who anybody, like, in like sports entertainment knows his name, because he's just a legend. He's been doing it for 30 years. He's been doing it since, like, I believe 89. So he's been there through all, like, the great Knicks moments too. So, like, I love to, like, ask him about those moments, especially in comparison to what's happening with this current team. Like, how does it stack up? Where's the energy like in comparison to 94, 99? So I'm really, really fortunate, man. I get to work with, like, just the coolest people, and, like, I'm learning from the absolute best.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to DJ Rumor too, man. You know, it's funny that most people don't necessarily get to land that job, right? Where they can work with a team that they're as passionate as about above all the other teams, right? For you, like, you know, you get to talk to people like the guy you mentioned. What is it that makes it more important for you in these memorable moments between the Heat and the Knicks that you're looking to see in this series that's coming up?
Well, I mean, as far as our position goes, we're trying to figure out ways that we can impact the game, you know, with what we do. And of course, like, to me, it's nostalgic because I grew up watching all the classic Knicks Heat series. So, you know, like, I love that we brought Go New York Go back after a couple seasons ago. Like, we finally brought that. It just feels like everything is kind of like, you know, the fact that we got, like, you know, we got Brunson, we got Rick Brunson on the sideline, who was on that 99 team, who beat the Heat in round one.
Yes.
Houston's historic floater, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it seems like this is also storybook, the fact that it came together and it kind of, you know, turned into this, what we have in front of us. So we're super excited. Like I said, I'm trying to think. I'm on game one. I'll be there in the building on game one.
Nice.
Sunday afternoon. So I'm already trying to think of, like, I gotta take all my Miami artists out of my rotation. So you ain't hearing no Pitbull, you ain't hearing no Rick Ross.
None of
Like,
that.
I'm taking all that out. So I gotta come up with a game plan where we can still get hype and we can still do what we gotta do. But
I mean,
it's always fun.
Luckily for you, you still got a lot of great New York hip hop that you can tap into, you know, to kind of replace the Miami flavor if you need to, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, I love me some Ross. Like, like the energy of a Rick Ross record is pretty unmatched. But we'll have to omit those for a little something else. A little Jada Kiss, maybe a little something else.
Something like that, right? The Locks or something. I wanted to ask you, Dan. Being a DJ is obviously a cool gig, right? And working with the Knicks, you obviously get to do a lot of cool things in conjunction with the Knicks, right? What have been some of the top moments that you've been able to work alongside with the Knicks that have been very memorable to yourself?
Immediately, what comes to mind is I mean, I've done some cool stuff. Like I've done an event for them at Rucker, so that's always dope. Rucker's legendary. I got to do Derrick Rose's engagement.
Wow.
So picture the garden is closed to everybody but about 5 of us. And D Rose took his girl, like now fiance. I don't think they're officially like married yet, but they're engaged. So he took her to the garden and like they literally had a dinner at center court.
Nice.
And he sent us some requests, basically, like the vibe he was looking for.
Right.
And it's just picture like D Rose, his girl at center court. They're sitting out having dinner. I'm up in the rafters where I normally play, and I'm like curating this like soundtrack, knowing what was gonna happen. I mean, she knew what was gonna happen too.
Right. Like it's pretty obvious at that point.
But I'm like, yo, like it's. Obviously, any huge basketball fan has such an appreciation for D Rose. Like, the fact that he's on our team, like, is mind blowing to me. So to be a part of that moment, I was like, yo, this is the coolest thing ever. And naturally, like, I'm setting it all up for like when like they pulled the table away, they sit him down, they played like a really nice video of all like his family and friends shouting them out.
Nice.
Sending their love, and then like he proposed at center court. So like just to be in the building, it's like. Literally the 2 of them. It's me. There's a videographer, a photographer, and like our person that does like the jumbotron, doing like the graphics and the video and stuff.
Dope.
And I'm like, yo, like
that's movie shit, man.
Right? I'm like, how does this happen?
Yeah, man. I mean, it happens when you put yourself in a position that you've been able to do so, my man, and you get to experience cool shit like that. That's definitely something very cool, right? And the fact that he went all out to do that, again, that's movie type stuff, man. That's very rare air. Let's talk a little bit about your current Knicks team, right? They've obviously impressed with the way that they were able to dispose the Cleveland Cavaliers, who by their own right had a good season, right? They ended up in the 4th seed, won a bunch of big games. But you guys were able to really tie, Brunson coming in, getting Josh Hart, Kevin Randall in, and get him going, and having these guys get cohesive. What's been the biggest thing that you've been able to see from your vantage point up there that's really propelled the Knicks to where they're at right now?
I think it's the intangibles. You know what I mean? I think like, especially, I have a basketball background, so I'm kind of looking for, you can always have like one superstar guy that carries the load.
Right.
But I feel like when you see these championship teams, it's so many different things from so many different people, and it all comes together at the right time. So for me, it's I'm watching all the intangibles. It's not just Jalen, stepping up and hitting big shots at timely moments. It's over the course of the season, it's been Grimes hitting big shots. You know what I mean? It's been Mitch just playing like bully ball all year. Like Mitch is not getting enough attention. Mitch has been such a huge piece, which when we got knocked out by Atlanta 2 seasons ago, we got knocked out by Atlanta. He wasn't in that series. And I still swear, if he was in that series, it would not have gone down like that. It still would have been competitive. I'm not saying we would have necessarily won.
For sure.
But, I mean, they handled us in the paint because Mitch wasn't there. You know what I mean? And even an addition like Hartenstein is so massive because it's, like I said, it's all those intangibles. It's just like it's that one momentum-shifting block at the rim. It's like, just getting a couple extra defensive rebounds, boxing out guys. Then you add like a guy like Josh Hart, which is literally the embodiment of everything I'm saying. Like he just does all that little stuff that like and I posted this on my Instagram the other day. I'm like, yo, this is every championship team has one person like that. You cannot win a championship without having somebody like that on your team. That's just having fun, passionate, like endless energy. All those little things, man. Like it's just like I said, it's the intangibles of this team, like the poise, the steadiness that Brunson has brought. You could see has kind of like it's really spread throughout the team, especially with a guy like Randall, who, you know, when he's having an off night, he kind of gets in his head a little bit. You could sense the frustration. He tightens up. Jalen just kind of, you know, takes a step back and he's like, yo, let's settle down. You'll see when he goes into attack mode, like, no, I need to get a bucket right now to settle everybody down.
Right.
And, you know, that's something that we've just been lacking. I mean, for Knicks fans, we've been lacking a point guard that can do that for a decade and a half. You know what I mean? More than that, really.
More than that, probably, right? Because you're thinking about like the Chris Childs years, you know, or the late Mark Jackson era, you know.
Right.
But you brought up a good point. Those type of intangibles are definitely what makes teams more dangerous in the playoffs, right? And Brunson has had a huge standard, right? You guys bring him in on a big contract, a lot of pressure behind him to get this team to the next level. Right, second round of the playoffs type stuff, and he's been able to carry that weight throughout the entire season. And some of those same intangibles is what kind of propels the Heat, right? Led by a guy like Jimmy Butler, who has all types of intangibles that even people don't even know existed to kind of like just carry this team into the playoffs and, you know, beat the Bucks 4-1, which was impressive in its own right. What is it that scares you the most about this Heat team beyond Jimmy Butler, right? Because obviously Jimmy Butler is going to be a handle for anybody. What would you say is their biggest next to threat?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you can't overlook Jimmy Butler. I mean, he's just, when you have a guy like that, he'll single-handedly like impose his will on your whole team. But I think, like, I mean, you know, the Heat have pieces for sure. Adebayo is obviously a beast. He's another guy that can definitely put his imprint on any single game. But I think it's just like the Spoelstra, the Heat culture, man. It's like y'all are always in the mix. You're always competitive. You know what I mean? It's like even when you think the Heat are down, somehow they bounce back. So it's just like, you know, they're not the type of team that if they're down 15, they're not. You just saw it the other night. They're not going to quit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't necessarily say, like, because, you know, it's tough, like Tyler Hero being out. You know, like, I don't know who that next guy up is really going to be. I think it's going to have to be a collaborative effort with everybody contributing. But I think it's just overall, it's just the mindset of the Miami Heat, just the way that they play. You're down 20 and, like, it's not even a problem. Like, you got a guy like Jimmy Butler that rallies everybody and they just follow. You know what I mean? Like, that's teams are hard to beat. Individuals are not hard to beat. Teams are hard to beat, and Miami's a team. You know what I mean? I think the Knicks are the very same. You know what I mean? There's really no.
Yes.
JB might have it one night. Julius might have it another night. You know, RJ's been contributing. We're not really like, you know, there's not one guy necessarily carrying the load. So I think that's what makes these two teams the most dangerous.
And very evenly matched, man. You said it. You know, both of these teams have dogs. Both of these teams pride themselves on their defense, right? You guys have a coach in Tom Thibodeau who's, you know, a real defensive-minded coach, is going to put that first, second, and third on the agenda, and it works out for him, right? We've seen him be successful in other areas, but getting a new level of success now with the type of team you guys have in New York, man. I think the series is going to be very evenly matched. We're talking about 6-7 games for sure, because I don't see either team getting that gentleman's sweep. It's just hard knowing that both of these teams have, you know, enough talent to pull a game or two from anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you saw it all year. I mean, we had some battles during the season. You know, I mean, Julius had the game winner that one game. So, I mean, it's interesting because now we have home court.
Right.
But we're also a pretty strong away team. So, you know, I think we have to protect. I think these first two games are so pivotal. Like it's you got to protect home court and set the tone and bring it. You know, we could. I think we could snatch one in Miami, but if we don't protect home court, the momentum can swing pretty quickly. You know what I mean? We don't. You guys are coming off of. We had a good series. You know what I mean? Like I think we're confident, but you guys have that like high right now, which I think in the playoffs when you're riding high like that, it's one of those things that just like you can't measure it, you can't quantify it, but like that's huge in the playoffs. Like everybody, like Jimmy's feeling himself right now. All these guys are so hyped. AC just knocked off a number one. You know what I mean? I think back to the Knicks in '99 when they knocked off the Heat when it was the reverse.
Right.
And then we rolled over Atlanta in the next round. They were number 2. You know what I mean? Kept it rolling, beat the Pacers. So, like, that kind of momentum is really, really big. So I think the Knicks have to come out in game 1 and really, like, you know, impose their will, protect home floor, and get that first win to kind of, like, settle y'all back down a little bit.
No, for sure. Look, we saw the effect that it had on Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee loses that first game, and it kind of threw them completely for a shock. You know, getting punched in the mouth like that at home, that shit sucks, and it's definitely a way to lose momentum in a series. All right, I gotta get this on wax, man. I gotta get it on wax. I know who you're picking, but tell me how many games and why.
All right, so I'm gonna you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna go Knicks in 5. I'm going to go Knicks in 5.
Okay, tell me why.
I think we get game 1. I think we might split. I think it's going to be very similar to our last series. I think y'all might grab game 2. But I think we can. Like I said, we've been a great road team all year. We've won in Miami this season. You know, I mean, I don't think our guys are shook by playing on the road in Miami at all. But I do think it comes down to Julius being healthy. Like, I think we've played well without him for sure. Like, there's no question. A lot of fans are just huge Obi fans, so they love to see him flourishing when Julius is out. But you can't replace what he does. And I think especially on the Miami front line, there's ways that we can exploit. And, like, Julius is going to be a big part of that if he's healthy. So that's going to be really – and I think we have a nice gap between game 2 and game 3.
Yes.
So I actually think, so I think that which is not normal, right? Like for playoffs, we normally are like every other day. Yep. So I'm really curious as to why they did it this way, but it works to our advantage now because that's extra time for Julius to get healthy. So if we can just handle business at home and get at least 1 out of 2, get that rest for Julius, come in healthy to Miami for game 3, I think we can come back home and close it out in 5.
I don't know, man.
You're like,
I don't know. Five seems kind of quick. You know, 5 seems kind of quick because you're right. You know, I think both teams have to defend home court, right? And we can easily see both teams winning both games at home. It wouldn't be a shocker to see both of these guys play well because more times than not, the supporting staff tends to play better at home than they do on the road. But you brought up a good point. Randall's health is going to be a big, big factor because he can give Bam a lot of problems. And we've seen Bam struggle against guys who have length, right? Kevin Love has done an all right job, but he's coming in sparingly, right? He's not a guy who's going to play 30 minutes, 35 minutes a game like Bam is. Me, myself, I kind of see it going 7 games, honestly, and I give the Heat a slight edge because in most cases than not, they'll have the best player on the court, and that's Jimmy Butler. And if this guy continues to do what he has been doing, right, it's almost poetic to be like, damn, Jimmy takes the most untalented Heat team all the way to like an Eastern Conference Finals or something like that, you know? That's why I think the series is definitely going to be a battle, and I don't see it going to like 120 points per game or anything like that. I see it like hundreds, low 100s or something like that. But yeah, man, I'm excited, bro. I can't wait to talk to you about the game as the series progresses, man. I appreciate you joining me here. Let the people know where they can find you one more time on social media.
What was that last thing you said? Sorry, you cut out for a second.
Let the people know where they can find you on social media.
Oh, absolutely. So again, it's on Instagram and TikTok. It's at Monopoli Music. So MONOPOLI Music. Monopoly's actually my last name. I don't know if you know that, but
I didn't know that. Name. Nice. That's
So people
talk about
people think it's like
perfect
a stage name, but Right,
I mean, it works like a stage name. I love it, man. I love it. Follow my man, DJ Monopoly. Dan, I appreciate you taking the time, brother. Thank you so much. I can't wait to talk to you again. We'll catch up as the series goes on.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. That was Dan, y'all, from New York Knicks DJ, New York Rangers DJ. This guy is an amazing DJ. You got to check him out on Instagram. He'll be a great follow during this Heat Knicks series. Make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button. If you haven't already, hit the like button and drop a comment to let us know what you think. It's your boy So. Peace.